And coming on into the Blue Door Pub is Sarah Nichols. She is the, how would you describe yourself, like, besides head honcho for RSVT?
A 23-year-old trying to start a company? Or how would I, just I'm Sarah, the tea queen who...
Oh, tea queen.
Tea queen, yeah.
Tea queen sounds like the female counterpart to T-Pain.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Which, T-Pain apparently has a new album.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't know he went away.
I didn't know either. I didn't know he was still alive. Just kidding.
You're a little bit too young for this, but like T-Pain and Akon and like Little John was the soundtrack for college for me, for that little strata of time.
I was with Akon and Little John too. Like, we listened to them. Where is Akon too? Where's Akon at?
Maybe they made enough money and they just went away. It's completely possible. But want to have you on. Love having hustlers, entrepreneurs, especially locally in the house. So mazel tov to you. But also it's weird that you don't have like I am a female entrepreneur. That is my brand, and I respect that. It resonates, but. Your side is like, I'm just trying to work, man. I'm just trying to live my dream.
That's it, yeah. I could read off my LinkedIn intro if you want. But no, I appreciate that. It's I don't have a formal title. I guess, a CEO, but there's so much more to that, I think.
Because when I started growing on Carlson Digital as opposed to just having producer Allie on payroll, I'm going to do... there will be titles like Executive VP of Marketing, blah, 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 blah. I'll just be Andy.
Yep.
Yeah, just I'm the president at the top.
Yep,
that's
me.
how it should go.
Yep.
So why don't you walk us a little bit through your story, McAllister College, the Pride of St. Paul, and where did you start? How did you get RSVT going? What was the genesis?
Yeah. Okay. There's a lot in that, but I went to McAllister. I grew up in southern Missouri.
Yep.
But I came up to McAllister. They had a great program and a great financial aid package, so that's what brought me up.
How many times do you get asked if you've seen the Netflix show Ozarks?
All the time. And I did watch it. I binged an entire day and night on it.
Was it good?
And it's pretty accurate.
Oh.
That part of Missouri, I grew up in the Ozarks, kind of the more southern part, Lake of the Ozarks with that show. It was very accurate. There's a lot of money laundering and general trashiness. But
you're telling me in a secluded, lightly federally patrolled area that a lot of shady stuff goes down?
Yep.
Oh. Well, there
Plenty
you
of woods to hide stuff.
Yeah.
All the things.
Yeah.
Or a lake to drown things. I don't know.
Yeah. Now,
So, yeah.
I haven't watched the show. People keep yelling at me to watch TV, except it's football season. I don't really turn. But came up from the Ozarks. Soccer.
Yep.
Was the big thing.
Yeah. I was playing soccer and started on the MAC team. I ended the first season with a really bad concussion.
Yep.
And I had already blown out both my knees, like a triple ACL.
Man, it's like
ACL,
it sounds like you play in the NFL.
Yeah, I know. And so kind of that third injury was my big wake-up call to start pursuing other things. My brain was pretty valuable, and quite frankly, I wanted to try other things. And so I was studying international relations. I thought I was going to go to law school. And then I was studying abroad in Vienna when I had this idea for a fizzy tea. I had a carbonated, mate soda in Berlin.
Yep.
And I had never seen anything like it. It was chock full of sugar. It was basically like if Red Bull was made with tea, but that was kind of my initial, inspiration was if somebody could make an energy drink or, really caffeinated tea soda, why couldn't I make a healthy version of it? So I was just, toying around in my kitchen.
I feel like I'm the only person who didn't study abroad. Everyone I meet was like, yes, I spent a semester in either Vienna or St. Petersburg or Bucharest. Cool.
Yeah, it was highly recommended. If you ever had the chance to, I would say if you go back in time to do it, it was pretty fun.
I would just go to England because they speak English.
They speak, I don't know.
Kind of English.
Kinda, yeah. Honestly, in big cities like Berlin and Vienna, they all spoke English. I was supposed to be learning German, but instead, honestly, I spent a ton of time brewing tea, which was weird, but I had all this free time to tinker, so I was like, I'll try and make this.
Now, accents on people, what's your favorite one?
Honestly, I love German because I can still speak of it, but the Viennese accent is very sing-songy, so they're like, ein Glas Weißwein, and it's goes up and down, and you're just like, what are you saying?
That sounds so evil and also so Sound of Music.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. It was, definitely Von Trapp's. That's my favorite accent.
First off, Von Trapp would be a great name for a techno group.
Yep.
Yeah. Also, Viennese and Vietnamese, very close, but complete. Yeah, not so much.
Nope.
Yeah. Speaking of Vietnamese, so I'm starting to be a lot of friends with fellow adoptees. I just sort of drifted into their sphere, and I've grown my facial hair out. It's not great, but they did say it's better than like 99% of Asian men.
Yeah, you've got a good beard growing right now.
Yeah,
it kind of swoops to the left of it, but it's cool.
Got the Kyle Orton neck beard effect going on. Yeah, but they also say it's like before you were city Asian, now you're jungle Asian.
Oh no,
I'm like,
that's terrible.
Yeah. Oh no, Viet Cong. I'm gonna start setting some traps and whatnot. But
that's horrible.
Anyways, we're back in Germany making tea.
Yeah, back in Germany. I was in a little bitty kitchen and just started making it, had my friends try it. They liked it a lot. And, I said, to have a, beverage company, that'd be a real party, and winked. And I was like, everyone's invited. And so, the original name for it was party, but I kept saying everyone's invited, and it was like really catchy. But, what I saw for an opportunity there was that term, everyone's invited, like really dove into this kind of beautiful explanation of including people is a good thing to do, right? Like,
the term like social justice warrior is used as like a disparate term.
Yeah.
Like a slander.
Yeah.
But using your platform and businesses that do good.
Yeah.
Like Tom's Shoes.
Yeah, exactly.
Was the OG started as like, hey, buy a pair of shoes, we'll give a pair of shoes to a homeless person. Now, a lot of companies have tried to replicate that.
Right.
But I think overall it is... I'm sort of two minds. They're like big corporations like InBev, Coca-Cola, like they don't really care. Like they'll give lip service to, giving back to people just to check that box, and also I'm sure they get a tax write on it. But the thing I like about small businesses is that they do have an ear towards social issues, whether it be injustice, whether it be equality, and I think that's good.
Yeah, thank you. And I completely agree. Like I said, I went to McAllister, so there were a lot of social justice warriors there, and it's unfortunate that it's become a slander now because people are passionate about making change. And the thing that I was passionate about, and what I sought to do with this brand, my older brother Taylor, he's severely disabled, nonverbal, autistic, and I grew up seeing him excluded from a lot of parts of society. Yeah. And I wanted to change that, not only for him, but for those that feel, less than, the average person. Although
it might have been a good thing he was excluded from things in the Ozarks.
Actually, that's a really good point. I didn't even think about that.
Mind blown.
Yep. Well, he uses sign language, and his favorite sign now is the bird because a group of high schoolers on the bus taught him how to flip off. So that's the Ozarks for you. Yeah. They thought that was pretty funny. But, that's what I really sought to do. And, we're really trying to work with the community of mental and intellectual disabilities, as those are groups that are often, they don't feel like they could go to a bar or a party because, there's not a whole lot for them to drink. Yep. Most of them are heavily medicated and aren't allowed to have alcohol. But
or they can have a small amount and
yes. No. Well, that too. Pack a punch. But, this idea of healthy celebration and inclusive celebration and celebration being good for you, like that's all of what we're trying to encompass into this brand and bring it to market with a product that is A, tasty, B, good for you, and C, damn tasty. Yeah.
Because we are living in the era of energy drinks now. Like, you're young. I used to be young. And it's the whole Red Bull era. Like, I'm trying to think of what the energy drinks were before Red Bull. I'm having a tough time thinking.
Like, Shocker. Like, Maybe. All of the things with lightning and really shiny aluminum and bright colors. Yeah. Like, NOS. Was NOS a thing? I feel like...
I think that was after Red Bull. I think Red Bull's the OG.
Yeah.
I think that's what started it all.
Yeah.
Weird. I don't care for the taste of Red Bull.
Yeah, me neither. That's also... two parts to this.
Yeah.
Red Bull was started in Vienna, too, which is funny.
Random.
Yeah.
They got bull semen there?
That's where they found it. Yeah, there are a lot of cows out there, surprisingly.
Oh, there you go.
And then... What was the taste of Red Bull. So I was a bartender in college, and I despised vodka Red Bulls, but they were one of the most popular products. And so I started prototyping the flavor differentiation with RSVTea to pair with, liquors, and they also like could pair with beer, but being able to do just more than, vodka and making it almost a sophisticated vodka Red Bull, if you will. But you can use, gin with the lavender lemon, vodka with the ginger lime if you like Moscow Mules. Whiskey and the jasmine orange is like a really good floral Manhattan. That was dope. And so that was, fun. And then I got to play bartender, but, having another caffeinated choice that's actually good for you, because like Red Bull I describe as Chernobyl in a can. And so like I think nowadays people are looking for something that's good for them and doesn't make you question if you're going to live.
We're over the being awake as a trade-off to destroying your liver and kidneys thing.
Yeah.
And also, vodka Red Bulls. I love at every college bar, since it's rail vodka. Like the Red Bull's the more expensive part of the drink.
It is. Like you pay a $2.50 upcharge.
Yeah. See, that's why they pour vodka Red Bulls rail vodka really strong, because like, oh no, be easy on the Red Bull.
Right.
Take it easy with the vodka. Yeah. And like, oh man, like, so Monster, Amp, Nas.
Rockstar.
Rockstar. There's a new one which is towards fitness people. It's called Bang.
Yep. Oh my God, I've seen it.
300 milligrams of caffeine. It's got creatine. It's got branched chain aminos and stuff. I drank one, and I feel like I could have gone to the moon.
Yeah. That's
which I don't think is good.
I don't think it's good either. Also, like, if we understand that energy drinks are bad for you, why would you title something Bang? Like, yep, I'm just going to shoot my liver.
Gains, bro.
Straight.
Gains.
Yeah.
Oh, this is... this is just a pure testimonial. Like, this isn't sponsored or anything like that. But you gave me a case. You've actually given me a couple of cases. And, like, the lavender, first I was like, man, this is going to taste like candle. It's delicious. It is fantastic. Also, first of all, it tastes good. And also the caffeine, it's like a steady burn. As opposed, like, sometimes I prefer tea to coffee, just because, like, all right, I don't want a quick jolt and then all of a sudden, bleh, or I want more coffee. Sort of deal.
Yeah.
So that's the bonus of the tea.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I like the candle reference, because we could make some good joke off that. Like, don't worry, it's not a Yankee Candle flavor.
Yeah.
But
then Yankee Candle shows up, like, give us some money.
Right. You said our name. Well, and the cool thing about tea, it contains an amino acid called L-theanine. I'm sorry, an antioxidant.
Is that what makes you sleepy at Thanksgiving?
No. That is tryptophan, just found in turkey.
No, what really makes you sleepy is 5,000 calories.
True. But it is true about turkey, too.
Yep.
And the antioxidant actually, it binds to the caffeine molecule, so it slows your body's absorption rate of the caffeine. So you have a good steady burn, like the way you described it is perfect. Instead of like with coffee, you get a 2-hour jolt and the jitters, and then you crash all of a sudden, and you need more caffeine. And so that's a fun fact about tea.
Yeah. It's the slow burn. It's the oak wood as opposed to the dry birch.
Yep.
So, play bartender. Came back from Europe. Broke a lot of hearts over there, I'm sure. And now back in the States, finishing up school. What's the next plan?
So I had to finish up my senior year, and I was facing graduation, staring down the barrel of student loans, and I was sitting on this idea of a tea company.
Yep.
And then also thinking I'm going to, study for the LSATs and go to law school.
Did you have a school picked up?
For law school?
Yeah.
I did. I was looking at the Vermont Law School. I had a inkling for environmental work, but also going out to D.C. would have been great, like the Georgetown Law School. So, but I faced this point where I had a little book where it was a little like leather bound book that I would jot ideas down and like the workings of a business plan.
Did you put it in your mahogany bookshelf?
I have a mahogany bookshelf. Just kidding.
Kind of a big deal.
No. But it was, just like this little thing that I got when I was in Vienna, and I would doodle like logo ideas, but then also write down, like I said, the first parts of a business plan and next steps. And all of a sudden, I looked at my LSAT prep book one day, and it had about an inch of dust on it. And I was like, maybe I should go ahead and just give this a go, because I'm 22. I was 22 at the time. I was like, if I fall, I don't have that far to fall. I'm good at living the college ramen diet. And I have this energy and this excitement because I just couldn't get this idea out of my head for this company. And so I went in, it was my last semester, and I took Intro to Entrepreneurship. Like I said, I was in international relations and German major. Like I took one econ course and barely passed. Like business was not my thing.
Wait, you have the barista degree.
Yeah.
You have a German. You have a German degree from a very prestigious private college. How would you like your Americano, sir?
Right, exactly. Oh, you want a macchiato? Great.
Yeah.
Breve. So yeah, that was the real. And then I had a really inspirational part in that class. The professor, her name is Kate Ryan Reiling, and she started a company. It's a board game company called Morphology. It was like number 2 on Time's best board games, and she was so inspirational for me as a young woman because she carried herself with this confidence and like self-validation that like empowered me to say, like, if I have this idea just because I'm 22 and I'm broke and I have no experience being a quote-unquote entrepreneur, this is my dream, this is what I want to do, and I don't need anybody's permission to really just go for it.
Now, you've been in a lot of pitch meetings, been in front of a lot of investors and stuff, and do you ever get the feeling it's like, oh, she's young, she has no idea what she's talking about, or it's like, oh, I mean, she's a female trying to be an entrepreneur?
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is completely weak.
Oh, yeah. It's I have a really good example. I was pitching this venture capital firm out in Madison, and this guy said, when you came up to pitch, I just thought to myself, well, this is just a college party girl. And everybody's jaw in the room dropped. It was just like, did he just say that? And he said, but I was completely impressed because you are incredibly professional and you clearly know your stuff.
Thank you, Stanley. You're still a little bit of a skis ball. Yeah,
I was like, thank you. I was still kind of like just fuming inside. But I get treated differently for being, the young girl. And, I had someone walk through, well, you need to be sure that you get, the right amount of cans and your label has to look good. And I was like, thanks, dude. I get it. And you have to worry about distribution. No, really? I had no idea.
It's like, someone going up to a football coach like, make sure you score.
Right.
Make sure you get first downs.
Exactly. So I've that's been stuff like that always kind of lights a fire under my ass because it makes me want to prove them wrong even harder. Like somewhat like a classic quote too is, "Oh, it's cute. You think you can take on the beverage industry?" And I'm like,
this is like the intro. It's like the intro of the movie stuff. Like the first 10 minutes of the the origin story. And it's like, oh, she was laughed out of every single venture capital room. You can't take on big beverage.
Yeah, I love that. Well, I'm going to keep. Hopefully, that's the intro to the movie.
I love having people on where it's all about the journey as opposed to, I could talk to Adolf Coors the 7th, whatever.
Right.
It's like, how'd you do it? I don't know. My dad did it.
Right.
Or my great granddad did it. Cool. Let's go back in time. Let's talk to original Adolf.
Right.
Back when Adolf was an acceptable name.
Right. Oh no, I was like, who are you talking about now?
By the way, the 3 flavors: lavender lemon, jasmine orange, and ginger lime. They could both be My Little Ponies, or they could be strippers.
They could be.
Ginger lime to the main stage.
That would be. It's not a bad idea, actually.
So you can have a foot in both worlds.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, actually, you kind of are, because you're marketing to the spirits crowd. Use as a mixer. You can have the DD drink it. That's cool.
Yeah,
also,
absolutely.
pitching towards high school kids.
Yeah, and we do qualify for high school lunch lines, and we have to toe that line so carefully because it is a really good non-alcoholic option. And like we're sitting here in Blue Door, and they have all these great craft beer options.
Yeah.
But imagine if you came here and you're like, well, I don't really feel like a beer today, or if you can't drink.
How about a Diet Coke?
Yeah, and you're just kind of like, when you do it, or like water. So it's just you don't feel special if you want to go to a bar or a brewery with your friends, and that's really what we're taking on too in that channel space, which is fun. So, yeah.
I was gonna say you should hammer like the Mormon sect, except I don't think they can have caffeine.
I don't think they can have. No, it's actually that was the one joke I made. I was like, everyone's invited. Oh, I'm sorry, Mormons, you can't have caffeine. Like, it's just...
how'd that pitch in Provo go? Man, that'd be really like. So Mormons, no caffeine, no booze. I don't know, man. That's rough to lose both. Like, I could lose one.
Yeah,
that'd be fine.
I agree. It's an interesting.
And I think I would pick caffeine over booze, to be honest.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
I would too. Sustain.
Yeah. Yeah.
Staying up all night. You get more stuff done if you're, not slurry.
And also, like, right now it's sexy to be an entrepreneur, right?
Yep.
It's a thing where everyone out of school, they want to be the next Zuckerberg, or drop out of school and want to be the next Zuckerberg. And there's money going around. Like, people want to be like, all right, I want to bet on the next Uber. I want to bet on the next Facebook. I want to do all that stuff.
Right.
And I don't know. Like, I feel like you have to have a certain to be the entrepreneur, to go weeks and months and years without a paycheck, and always having like a half of a stress ulcer developing.
Yep.
I don't think that's for everyone. Like, I have no issue if someone's wired to have the 9 to 5, working at one of those big corporate offices on 494, and then go home and play some video games and go to sleep.
Absolutely.
That's fine.
If that's your gig, have at it. And there are those people who the entrepreneur title, and even being able to say I'm an entrepreneur. Like you said, it's sexy, it's in trend, and that's something that really frustrates me, because the big entrepreneurs that people compare themselves to, Zuckerberg, Bezos, it's like the words that exit their mouth are the next dogma, and they're like treated like Jesus Christ. And I feel like people who are entrepreneurial already, naturally, they have this inclination to hustle. They have an idea. They, entrepreneurship is a function to solve problems. It's almost, the way we talk about entrepreneurship, or at least the way that it's portrayed in the, the limelight, is, it's just kind of disheartening and doesn't really speak to the people who can be entrepreneurs. It's like, follow your passion, and if you're passionate about it, do it, and you'll like work, and that earning fire is what lets you get through not having a paycheck.
I feel like entrepreneurs right now, it's more of a lifestyle that people are going after. Because you see on like Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, like everyone has entrepreneur in their bio. It's like, what company do you have? Like, I understand you had a baller. Oh, do you want another beer?
Yes, please. Thank you.
I understand that you got yourself a baller watch and all that stuff. But I mean, what's your P&L sheet look like? I mean, and also bugs me too. The entrepreneurs are just in the business of raising capital.
Yep.
Where it's like, no, we're not actually turning out a profitable business. We're just getting next to A, B, C, D funding.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about your Series C. Like, I could talk to you about our fundraising, but I would rather talk about what the business is, like you said. And it's, you want to actually make it cash flowing. And so figure out a model that actually works, instead of just saying, well, I think this idea is going to work. But no, you're totally right. And
it's a quasi-Ponzi scheme.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There are a few of those out there for sure. There was one beverage company, actually, and they had a beverage flavor called Party, or it was a type, and it was like an energy drink, and I was like, oh, God, and they like got shut down by the FCC. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
FCC?
Oh, no, the...
FDA?
No, not the FDA. It was
ATF?
Yeah, just lacing the energy drinks. I don't remember the credit. Not the IRS. It's...
SEC? Securities Exchange Commission?
Yep. Yeah, SEC. Thank you.
Yeah.
Like I said, got a barista degree. But also, people shouldn't just like strive to have a company either. Like, if you want to have a nonprofit, that's entrepreneurial. But yeah, I totally agree with you that a lot of times people just want to talk about like this, like, it's so sexy to say I'm raising, $5 million. And it's like, how stressful it is? Like, the first time I received an investor's check, I was like, I should be really happy, but I'm literally about to shit a brick because I'm terrified. Like, it's just
it's like, I'm going to waste this person's money. I'm going to drive this thing into the ground. They're going to hate me. And then we have to start all over again. And it's going to be super awkward.
Yep. Yeah, it's a frequent nightmare.
Yeah. And I actually blame the Social Network movie. Because, the line, Justin Timberlake, the Sean Parker and the Napster guys, like, a million's not cool. It's cool, $1 billion.
Yeah.
And then everyone got that stuck in their craw. It's like, there is like 1/100th of 1/100th of people who can actually build up a $1 billion company from scratch. And you're probably not it there.
Yeah.
Well, not you, but, the royal you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll just say fingers crossed, knock on wood, maybe. But it's just glorified, and people it's frustrating because that's the topic of entrepreneurship, or like that's the section of entrepreneurship people like talking about, instead of like owning it. You don't want to say I own a small business. You want to say I have a Series A open. See,
it's like going back to like old school entrepreneurship, like think of like the Western settlers or our grandparents out there running the general store. Like those are true entrepreneurs. Like people weren't getting out of grammar school and then getting a job at Best Buy, Best Buy corporate or Target corporate, just pushing papers, right?
Yeah.
Not there's anything wrong with that, but they're operating the general store, and they were worried about making sure that they have enough to cover the next shipment coming in from Colorado Springs on wagons. Like, oh no, we have a really good deal on sides of beef. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and just that sort of staying in business mentality and working and serving others. I feel like that's universal, and hopefully that's not being watered down in this whole entrepreneurship rush.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And back then, if you had fear of failure, you died. If you didn't, if you were too afraid to start something, you guys just wouldn't have a town to live in.
Yeah.
And that was something that took me forever to get over because, I have really bad anxiety. I mean, especially now as things are stressful. But starting off, I had the worst fear of failure. And then I realized, I kind of like faced it and I was like,
maybe you picked the wrong industry.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I got over it quickly because I was always, concerned about getting A's and performing well in school. And, oh, my gosh, if I don't do this right, everyone's going to hate me. And then I realized, like, no one can determine success but me. And if I come from a position of if I fail, like that sentence alone will be like it will become when I fail because you're creating a self-fulfilling prophecy. And I just had to yank my brain away from that thought entirely.
Oh, and also I feel like a mentality you have to have as an entrepreneur, though. I'm technically an entrepreneur myself, although I don't label it such. As like, you're gonna fail. Like if you're not failing, like you're in this perfectly set up vacuum world where it's like, like kids who take over daddy's business.
Yep.
Like, there's a lot of easy hurdles that are set up. Like, there's a lot of deer that have already been stuck just for you to shoot with a bow. It's like, I'm a hunter now, cool.
Right.
But I'm all over the place, but that's how I usually go. But there's an episode of The Twilight Zone where, do you remember that show?
Oh, I watched a ton of that, yeah.
And it was, this guy woke up and he won every single lotto ticket and he got every girl and everything went right in his life. And then eventually he got sick of it because, like, you can't really appreciate the sweet life without a little bit of the sour, And then at the end, the twist was there was some, like, omnipresent overseer and he's like, what is this place? It's hell.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I'm like, I did not see that coming.
Sounds like Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
I love that show. No, but it's completely true. If you don't accept that you're going to fail, if you're going to do something, if you're not going to do something because you think you're going to fail, like, sorry,
like
that's not the way life is. If you don't
fail, you never tried.
Exactly. And you don't, that's the greatest learning experience I've had has been from failing. Like, I've screwed a ton of things up. Right now, I'm having to mitigate a few failures still, and it's like I said, putting out the fires and. If you don't take it it's about not taking it personally and just like seeing the situation, like humble yourself, like, all right, that's what I did. I'm not going to do it again. And that's how you learn. And you just kind of like when I got into this industry, like I was a bartender. That was the only beverage industry experience I had. Did
you put that on the resume when you applied to entrepreneurship?
Yeah, exactly. I wrote my, what's the college entrance exam or the application you have to do, the Common App or something? Yeah, put that on my essay.
Yeah.
Why I'm an entrepreneur, just kidding. But yeah, it's if you don't go for it and if you don't just embrace the fall sometimes, you hit rock bottom, you pick yourself up, and people talk about, starting companies like jumping off a cliff with a bunch of metal and trying to put together an airplane. Yeah. And I was like, it's actually, you do it and you crash to the ground and you lug all that metal back up the hill and you do it the next day and you do it over and over again.
Well, Pierce Brosnan did in GoldenEye at the beginning of the movie.
Call him, be like, teach me how to build an airplane.
He's old, fat, and looks like Santa now.
Really?
Yeah.
He was my favorite Bond.
He was a good-looking dude. Like, low-key, like, I like Daniel Craig now, mainly because the movies have been better, but yeah, Brosnan's up there.
Daniel Craig grew on me, I think you're right. When he was first assigned James Bond, I was like, man, I was pissy about it. Like, I didn't really like him. But now that a few have come out, I'm about it.
Yep.
He does a good job.
Yep.
So.
Who's going to be the next James Bond?
Justin Bieber. Just kidding.
Nah. He's so terrible.
That would be horrible.
Yeah.
I hope it's one of the Stranger Things kids.
I don't think any of them are British. Although, hell, everything's out the window now.
Yeah.
Let's just have an American James Bond. Hey, Jimmy. Jimmy, come in here. What do you need, Am? Shoot.
I got a license to kill. I think that'd be great.
Actually,
especially coming from the South, whatever.
Yeah. Have you seen The Kingsman?
Yes.
It's a great movie.
Gosh, everything is so unrealistic.
Yeah.
You're like, those are some crazy stunts, but it's so entertaining. I love it.
Did you see the second one?
Yes.
Now, I think that's where, like, they should start, like, an American equivalent of James Bond, and, that would be, like what Channing Tatum was in that movie.
Yeah. And he'd be great for it, too. Man, you want to screenwrite that together?
We're going to entrepreneur a movie company. There's an opening since Weinstein's out. We'll have to put our applications. With entrepreneurship, too, it's like no one's ever going to care about your project more than you.
Right.
And it frustrates me a little bit. Like, I got friends that own businesses, or people that are managers of people, and they're like, the people that we hire, they just don't work as hard as me. I'm like, it's not their name on the sign. It's not their ass on the line. It's not their bottom line. I mean, people aren't going to care as much about your brand as you. And I feel like even if you're not a purebred entrepreneur, but if you want to do something on the side, like say you make like fishing lures or something like that, just having that pride of ownership and knowing that, hey, every single lure, that's a little bit of me, and they're going to tell their friends, and then be like, how'd you catch that big fish? Oh, that's Jim Bob Bond's lures. That's got to feel good. I feel like there's just like a human element that just needs to be scratched a little bit in that pride aspect.
Absolutely. And like you said, no one's going to care about it more than you. And it's the excitement of, whether you're selling fishing lures or selling tea or building the next Facebook, if you are passionate about it and like you're willing to tie your name to it and you're like, I'm going to start this, of course, like you're going to work harder than everybody. And I would rather pay other people than me and still be broke if they're going to make it better. But also, I think you brought up a really good point that even if you have a 9-to-5 and you want to sell lures on the side, like you're an entrepreneur in that facet too. Yeah.
And just having your actual name on it as opposed to a big corporate entity. So I watched this video about this little lady named Helen in Brownsville, Tennessee. And she owns this place called Helen's Barbecue. It's essentially like a shack with a smokehouse off the side. And every single day, her husband starts a fire at 5 in the morning. She goes in, smokes whole pork shoulders, makes up these delicious sandwiches. Every single day, it's her name, it's her ass on the line, rinse and repeat. Yeah, I think she cares slightly more than employee number 10,562 at Chipotle.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Just like...
It's your craft.
Yeah.
And... you can be an artisan of fishing lures and be a kick-ass entrepreneur.
Are we starting a fishing lure company?
Yeah. We'll tack that onto the American James Bond thing, too. It could be James Bond is always fishing. I don't know. Now we're just way off the tracks. We're way off.
Yeah. What's the next steps with RSVTea?
So we're waiting to go into production right now. And once we have those, basically it's our first production run. We have a statewide distribution agreement with Burnix, which is also known as Minnesota Pepsi. And once we can go, and we're waiting on the manufacturer right now. We just need one more approval from the FDA, which should go fine. We have to just dot all the I's and cross all the T's, do a big run, and then launch to market. So we're going to be targeting places here in the Twin Cities, and that'll be winter of 2018. And then from there, it's starting a global tea empire. Bada bing, bada boom.
That's awesome because we hooked up like a year ago, almost a year ago, something like that.
Yeah, we were talking about it was like late winter.
Yeah. And like me naturally, like I've said a bunch on the show, like I'm attracted to hustlers, people with entrepreneur mindset, people who like pulling themselves out of the bootstrap. And like this will be a fun thing for the listeners just to follow the progression of the story. Like next time we have you on the show, it'll be in production, and then the next time is be like, we've moved to 8 states, and the next time it's nationwide. Oh, we're international. Oh yeah, we have some in the Toronto International Airport. We're big time now. We got Drake as to be our spokesperson.
I love that you see us going that far, and that's exactly where, that's my dream, is to make it an international brand. So heck yeah, let's keep updating on the journey.
Well, I mean, people know, like, like all the sponsors on the show, most of them are local, and they're all products and services that I use and recommend, because I'm not going to sell people BS. And Blue Door is a great example, because they've been sponsor of the show going on 3 years now, and they're a prime example of Pat and Jeremy, the owners, operators. They started out in the small St. Paul location, like everyone knows that one. It's the size of one of those houses from Monopoly. Not the hotels, like the house.
The actual house, yeah. I was like, no hotels. You get the little green dudes.
Like, and I was filled in on the backstory. Like, they bought it when it was called the Puerta Azul, like, so the Blue Door in Spanish. Mm-hmm. And then they flipped it around. And it was so damn good that people waited for an hour to get in to have some of the Blue Sea. And then they expanded to Longfellow. They opened up here in Como. They're going to Uptown now. And that's just
nice.
something. We joked about going to the airport. They actually opened a spot in the airport.
They did?
Oh, they're going to, yeah.
That's awesome. No, and that St. Paul location, I lived like a block and a half away from there. And we would wait for an hour. Oh, yeah. It was ridiculous. Yeah. But it was worth it.
Yeah. For sure.
Totally worth it.
Just following that story, that progression, I'm attracted to that. I mean, there's a reason why we've had such a good relationship. And mainly because I see some of that in me. Like, we started the show. It was like 2 people listening. 3 of them were my grandma. And it just kind of went from there, because I think people they appreciate honesty. They appreciate something to emulate, or something just to pass the time. I mean, it's a Rorschach test. Like, everyone can get whatever they want out of it, and that's what I like about entrepreneurial stories. Where, hey, actually, no, it'd be great if you went broke, and then we got you back on again, and then you have a new venture, and then that one takes off. Yeah, because we get the full spectrum.
I failed, and just kidding, I flipped it around and did something different.
Yeah. So I'm rooting for you to go broke. No.
Oh, don't say that. We're so close. No, I'm kidding. Knock on all this wood. No. I keyed. No, thank you. I appreciate that you've, stuck with us for so long, and that we're still having this conversation even, and it's people like you who like support and like elevate even at this stage of my entrepreneurial journey, we're like still like scraping breadcrumbs, right? Just trying to get it off the ground, and having you, see the merit in what, me and my one employee are trying to do, and are still doing it, and it's what keeps, that support mechanism is crucial in the entrepreneurial community. Yeah. Even actually a whole community, like screw the entrepreneurial community, the entire community.
Well, especially at a micro level, it's really about relationships. Like, it's about, face to face the person that is doing X, Y, Z for you, like everything like that. And we have a relationship. You have a relationship with other people. Right. It's not like corporate where it's like, oh, we need to get our aluminum from Tanzania. Right. Call up Szechuan. Yeah, we'll FaceTime them in.
Yep. No, exactly. And that's also why I love being in the Twin Cities area, because. When people talk about startups, they immediately think of like Silicon Valley, and the startup community here is so different because it is so much more supportive and inclusive, and these connections, and people value that human connection, and it's not just, hey, I'm trying to start a tech company and sell it for $100 million in the next year kind of thing. It's different. It's more like down to earth, very humble, but also very connected to the human level of our daily interactions. Yep. So if you're starting companies, like, you care about your community, and that's what I love about the Twin Cities. And quite frankly, that's why I decided to stay here and start it, because I fell in love with the Twin Cities when I came up to McAllister. Yep. And I don't really like the cold, but it's worth it. Someone told me, he was like, it almost filters out the jerks. I was like, if you're a jerk, you're probably going to go live in like Santa Fe, where it's warm. But being here, we weather through the cold. We're in it together, and it's like we all just kind of like experience the suffering, and then we come out, and then everything's great again when it warms up, and we're just super happy in a connected community. That makes sense.
It's a really random hub for entrepreneurship. Winona. You know where Winona is?
In Minnesota?
Yeah. All right, so straight down the river. And I don't think I fully appreciated this when I was in college there, but there are just tons of like companies, like first generation mom and pop whether it be manufacturing, it's a huge manufacturing hub. Fastenal's a Fortune 500 company. I think they snuck into there. And it just all started from a small community where everyone knows each other. It's like, oh, hey, let's help each other out. Or like,
Right.
I work for a lighting company down there, and what my job was to go around and pick up these things. Hey, go over to the glass company and pick up this. Go over to the machining place. We had the CAD drawings over there. Go pick up that. And it is cool how even like as a city, that's more of a micro picture, how knowing everyone and supporting each other
Right.
helps entrepreneurship, helps prop up that town, frankly. And then at the micro level too, just the the one-on-one relationships, helping each other out, whatnot.
Yeah, that's cool. I've never been to Winona, but
Yeah.
I'll be sure to check out that glass shop.
It is a fun party town. Like, so after living up the cities here for quite a while, it's fun to go back every now and then and be like, yeah, can we get 3 Long Islands and 2 Coors Lights, please? And then you slip them the 20 and the 10, and they'd be like, sir, what about your $14 change?
Oh, wow. They are very
Yeah,
small town.
yeah, it's
That's
pretty
cool.
fantastic. So what is the next step? Actually, we kind of went over that.
Next step is just to get on the canning line,
Yeah.
which, fingers crossed, happens in the next month.
Yeah.
And then it's the party really starts then. Cause
If InBev came to you right now and be like, hey, right after it gets in production, be like, hey, we would like to buy this company for $15 million. What would you say?
$15 million?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm broke right now, but I would be like, nah. Because honestly, if they're going to offer you that much early on and you can, like, we have a really great go-to-market strategy.
Yep.
I'd be like, nah, I want to start this and I want to prove that I can build it.
Yep.
And, like, I have that sense, like, I want to build this brand because it's like, it's my baby.
Yeah.
And if InBev came in, like, a few more years, sure, like, it'd be worth it. But it just wouldn't have the same genuine aspect. Like, I'm not just trying to build a beverage company and flip it. Like, I get the comment, oh, you're going to sell to Coke and for $100 million and, like, you're going to be a millionaire. And I'm like, that's really not why I'm doing this.
Yeah.
Like, it's about the fact that, like, I love what I create and I love that sharing it with people and that they love it and want to share it with the people they love. And I'm not just trying to make a quick buck. 15 million sounds really nice, but I'd be like, you can invest it in the company and we'll...
like, you call up a meeting of investors, like, hey, InBev wants to buy for X amount, and they'll just, like, stare at you with, like, their arms crossed, like, come on.
Yeah. Be like, sorry, I still have all the voting rights.
So 10 years from now, where do you see yourself and where do you see RSVT?
I would love to still be working with RSVT. The way the beverage industry works, you have a glass ceiling of sales channels you can reach due to exclusivity agreements.
Phrasing.
Yep. Thank you. And so we will have to do either a merger and partnership or a merger and acquisition with, a Coke, Pepsi, InBev, Miller Coors, somebody like that who can actually bring us to that international sales scale.
Yep.
But I would want to stay on and, whether it's like the chief brand officer or something like that. I see myself still working with it, but also I have this other desire to start almost, it's like getting back to the story of my brother, like taking this like notion of why everyone's invited, if our motto is that, why that's so powerful. Whether it's a foundation or, even a second company that dovetails off of that mission of healthy celebration. Like we were talking earlier, like I want to stock all the group homes here in the Twin Cities and the assisted living facilities.
Oh, stock. I thought you said stock.
Oh, yeah, I want to stock them. No, I want to stock them with RSVT just because, I can't make huge monetary donations yet. But, I see myself working in that realm. And I'm actually moving. My brother still lives in Missouri, but he's going to be moving up here with me
very cool.
pretty soon. And so I'm excited to have that. But, like, that's where I see myself as, like, really niching myself in this world of empowering others to celebrate yourself for exactly who you are and don't ever think that you aren't good enough, and like just driving that message in. And that's where I see myself working. And I know that's very vague, but also like 10 years down the road is, who knows? If Earth will still be here.
That's a good note to go out on. Not the Earth not being here, but everyone's included. That whole thing.
Yeah.
RSVTea.com is the website.
Yeah.
Sarah Nichols is the entrepreneur.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, we'll be back because we haven't talked about like all the awards you won.
Oh, yeah. The awards. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for listening to Bowl with Andy Carlson, Minnesota's 87th best daily podcast. Download the show on iTunes. Everyone's middle name is Jerome.